Okay, what's up, guys? Welcome to the Wonders podcast. Fucking sorry about the wait to the two people listening to us. There's been, man, finding a host has been impossible, but I think now, third time's a charm. I think we finally did it. I'm here with, I'm retro underscore loneliness. You can call me Nick. I'm here with my friend Justin.
Hello, my name's also Bungie. People call me that.
Yeah, man. Just to start off, what are your interests, man? What do you do? What do you like? What do you dabble in?
Uh, well, I mean, I've been playing COD since I was, what, like 10, 11? COD 4 was my fucking childhood, Modern Warfare 2. Since starting going into PC gaming, that shit's been lit. And then just recently got the new Xbox. Got to start playing all those new games coming out. Got to get into all
Nice,
that.
nice.
Sure.
Speaking of new games, with EA Play coming around recently, you know, we've covered it before, but Battlefield 2042 just keeps making headlines, man. Can you believe that?
Yes,
Fucking,
sir.
what is it? Battlefield Portal, was announced. Can you tell me anything about that?
Bro, honestly, when I saw that, I was like, yo, I'm getting some, like, you ever play Call of Duty online? Or like
No.
seen videos of that? You ever see videos of that?
Mm-mm.
It's kind of like has like everything from like all the Call of Duties, but like in one. And like Battlefield just took that to like another level with this Portal thing, dude.
I agree. When I saw the reveal trailer, you saw that, like, what's his face, the specialist Espinoza, and I'm kind of iffy on the specialist or whatever the system for 2042, but then after that it cut to like the engineer from Battlefield 3, and I was like, what the fuck, dude? And when from the engineer, it the map shifted to that of like, being Caspian border, and I lost track of what the heck this whole trailer was about. And then as the trailer progressed, you see, not only did you see references, like, very hardcore references to Battlefield 3, you also saw references to Battlefield 5 or 1942, Battlefield 1942, and
Yep.
of course Bad Company 2. Um, it seems to me that Battlefield Portal is essentially a way for EA to monetize, um, 2042 in a way where rented servers are going to come back, in which custom game modes are
Yes.
going to exist.
Dude, you can just have like people from 1942, like soldiers from like Japan or whatever, versus like modern soldiers who have like the the paddles and they have like knives or katanas.
Yeah,
That's gonna be crazy, bro.
I agree. Um, there's definitely footage of exactly what you're saying, where it was the Battlefield 3 like soldiers from the U.S. side going to war. I guess
Against
fighting a battle against like German soldiers from World War Two,
yeah.
and they were using the soldiers were using knives, while the Battlefield 3 soldiers were using um like defibrillators.
Yeah.
What kind of game modes do you think they could probably come up from with that stuff?
They're definitely gonna do like a melee one.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, they're definitely gonna have like the dogfight. You can do a new dogfight mode with a new variety of planes and jets that you're gonna be able to have, helicopters.
Right. Yeah. Um.
Uh, different tanks. You know what they could also add? They can add some Battlefield 1 stuff too, eventually down the road.
Yeah. I definitely. Yeah. Of course. If they added, those three games, essentially they're gonna add the other ones.
They're gonna
'Cause-
add Battlefield 5 possibly as well. I mean, they can just add some port some stuff in. I mean, that game's recently been made, so they still obviously have the assets for that.
Mhm. Uh. Let's like if I'm looking at the Battlefield the on the Battlefield website. Apparently, Battlefield Portal is going to include two maps from both Battlefield Bad Company 2, 3, and 1942, which is essentially Battlefield 5 because they both take place around the same time period. It's
Yep.
you have the Battle of the Bulge, Al Alamein, for 1942. You're gonna have Arica Harbor and Valparaiso, Valparaiso for Bad Company 2. And lastly, where I know, which is kind of like where I know the map because I played it. I don't know how to explain it, but I guess like my stomping grounds when I first got introduced to the Battlefield series, Battlefield 3. You have the Caspian Border, which is a well-known Battlefield map from 3 because it was eventually ported to Battlefield 4. And then also the like one of my favorites for playing team deathmatch on North Shore Canals. It's they're not only are they bringing back bringing back these maps in particular, but they're, as mentioned before, they're bringing back the exact models of all of from these games, and their weapons and their kits exactly how they were when the game came out. So like Battlefield 3, you would play as an engineer, a medic, support, or recon, and they're keeping those exact same classes for those soldiers if you'd like them to be.
That sounds awesome.
Yeah, it's really cool. I just can't imagine where like someone's like in like what is it, in a Spitfire airplane from like World War II, is completely like dominating people from like that are using like the advanced fighter jets from 2042. That'd be funny as fuck.
That's gonna be hilarious. How are
Yeah.
you gonna win those dogfights against a jet if you're in one of those
It's true.
those old ass planes?
Oh man. Yeah, like aside from Portal, like how far do you think they could push the envelope with Portal?
I mean, there's endless possibilities. It even says it in the trailer.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of stuff you can do. I don't know. I mean, at some point there's gonna have to be like, a point where like it's probably too much. But I think they got it under control.
I agree.
This is definitely gonna be contenders against Halo Infinite, possibly the next Call of Duty. Although we don't have to talk about that.
I agree.
We don't know much about that. We just know it's gonna be World War II themed, possibly.
Yikes.
But yeah.
Yeah. Is Halo Infinite coming up? It's not coming out this year, right?
It is coming out this year.
It is. Wow. Yeah, I know that when they announced it at the thing was Microsoft. What is it called?
The E3.
It was at E3. Oof. They showed the trailer for the Infinite's multiplayer mode, which is actually going to be free to play.
It's gonna be awesome.
Yeah.
I don't know how they're gonna make money off the game if it's free to play, but
Like, do you have any speculations on how like Halo Infinite's gonna like play out?
I don't know. I've seen the gameplay. It looks a little bit more like they've added some elements from Destiny into it now. Just based off of it. I've never really played Destiny, but it does have some of the elements if you
Like what?
look at it a little bit. I know they did show off the grapple gun. Did you saw that, right?
I did, yes.
That looks awesome.
Mm-hmm.
That's all I really noticed. Other than that, it still looks and probably is gonna feel like the traditional Halo game.
I think the grapple hook is definitely I feel like it's gonna be a big step in a different direction from like the traditional Halo experience, because a lot of the old like the Bungie made Halo games, they were a lot of the way that the map geometry worked was where you could do very interesting things, like you could throw a grenade at a weapon pickup on the ground, and you could have it basically it's like the explosion would throw the gun towards your direction. You could pick it up in like midair. And so knowing that you could do things that are pretty interesting, like using the grapple hook to bring yourself up, you could actually use it to attach yourself to the back of players and do executions. You could
That's cool.
Yeah, you could also use it to pick up weapons like midair. So I'm thinking like, dude, if you throw like a grenade and it explodes and the gun like is going up, you grapple hook the gun midair, you pick it up, and then you shoot some dude and you kill him. I mean, that's gotta be like, there's definitely that stuff that's gonna happen.
You're gonna see a lot of montages of those type of shows.
Yes, it's gonna be like 720, like 360 grapple hook, cancel, I don't know, like one shot something.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know that the when it comes to the actual like the thing that Halo's really known for, which is actually its story, that's it's actually gonna be separate or not really attached to the multiplayer, because the multiplayer is, although it's free to play, Halo Infinite's storyline where you play as Master Chief is not.
No, it is not. But I feel like the story, it looks very, very good, just, graphics wise. I mean, they've had a lot of time. When was the last Halo game released again?
Thank you. Like when?
Yeah, when was the last one released?
I don't remember. I think it was probably like 2 years ago.
Let's
Um,
see.
wasn't it Halo 5 Guardians?
I think it might have been.
Yeah, that came out in 2015.
They've had since 2015 to start developing this, so they've had a lot of time.
Mm-hmm.
More than 5 years.
What is with you've played Halo a lot, would you say?
I've only played. I stopped really, like, really truly playing after Halo 2. I played. I mean, I still like picked up the game and casually play, like, with friends and stuff. But I didn't like really fully play, like, the Halo games and stuff like that.
I see. Yeah, I remember playing it at my friend's house, and he'd let me borrow like his system when he got the Xbox One, his 360, and then I managed to go through all the Halo's campaigns all the way up until Halo 4, because I think I personally believe that the my favorite story would have to be between either 3 or ODST. I think 3 ODST is really good because you play as this like random dude who has to fight against the same type of enemies that like the legendary Master Chief has to, and he's just a regular guy. He's a orbital drop shock trooper, and like literally like you're in the shit as soon as you drop in. Um, I think when it comes to the multiplayer, I really gravitated towards Halo 4's like oddball. I think that I said it right, or the one where you use a skull. I
I
really
remember that.
Yeah, it was a god fun ass game mode. I played the fuck out of that. I thought the armors in Halo 4 were really cool too. But I understand why people would gravitate towards Reach's multiplayer, and how that multiplayer is more to their style, because the armor customization varies way more, and also there's also the Forge, which you're bringing back for Halo Infinite, I believe. I'm not too sure, where you
What
could
was the fourth map?
it's where you get to make your own maps.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Did you hear about the battle pass? How they're gonna be implementing where it doesn't expire. You can go back and complete the previous battle passes.
I didn't. Um, I'm pretty sure they're gonna use it. They're probably gonna have a free one and a paid battle pass, like how
Most
they,
likely, yeah.
and then they're gonna mostly have like the pretty like nice looking armor pieces, as the, what I would like to say, is like as they're in like the paid one, and then you have like the non bougie ones, like just being in the free one. Probably even if they even choose to, it's probably just gonna be skins for like guns. You know,
Yeah, well, they get some armor pieces because I feel like they would do that type of customization.
yeah. I definitely want to see more stuff in Halo Infinite regarding like the fire teams, because I know when it comes to Halo Infinite, it's in Halo 5 there, I think it's like Gray Team, or it's, I forgot the name of it. Master Chief's. Let me look it up real quick. Like what characters did you like from Halo? What that always stuck around for you?
Huh. I didn't like really play, so I guess just Master Chief.
Mm.
That's whenever I think of Halo, I only think of Master Chief.
Oh yeah, I feel it. So it's actually called Blue Team, actually. Yeah. So like, Master Chief being the leader, you ended up seeing his fire team go up against that of, I think it's called against the new Spartans in the game. That is Halo 5. And there's not really much of anything, because in the end of Halo 5, especially if you get the legendary ending, you eventually you get to see you get to meet Arbiter again, and it's you and your homies, the blue team, chilling. And I don't know, it's gonna be super interesting how they're gonna actually do the story for Halo Infinite as well, because according to many sources, the game is actually gonna be an open world, free roam.
Really?
Halo. Yeah.
That's gonna be actually really cool.
Mm-hmm. It's yeah,
Maybe at first.
it's gonna be a first, especially for the series. Um, I think the biggest like stories, the levels that I remember off the top of my head, are that of Halo 3 ODST, because like when you're in the Citadel, like the place is like big as fuck. Um, there's been like the history of games and how they're monetized has always been so interesting towards me as well. Like as we talked
Yes.
about like Halo Infinite and the Battle Pass. Like when you grew up, what was monetization to it like for you? What did that mean?
Well, I don't really like see monetization for stuff until like I would say maybe Black Ops 2. That's when they brought out the Peacekeeper. I don't know if you played Black Ops 2. You probably did, right?
It's been a long time.
Yes. When they brought out the Peacekeeper, that gun was really good, and I was like, dude, I just want that weapon just to use it because of how good it was. And then I remember in Ghosts, they kind of took a step up from that. They released 2, 3 weapons, and then it started getting to the point where Advanced Warfare really started taking it with like the blueprints or whatever the variant of the weapon, where it would be like a lot better than everyone else's, and the chances of getting that would be you're basically gambling at that point, trying to get it because it's a low chance of getting it.
Loot
And if you
boxes?
got it, yeah, the supply drops.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, this is before battle passes and stuff, and then when they started implementing battle passes, they started moving away towards that, which Fortnite started doing that. They started doing their battle pass, and they started doing cosmetic stuff. I feel like that's when everybody else started seeing the success of that, and then started moving towards that. Adding some more customization items, some emotes, some sprays. I feel like that's just like the way it's supposed to usually be.
Mm-hmm.
Like you
Yeah,
shouldn't have to have a gun that's like behind a paywall that's broken, busted, whatever word you wanted to call it
I
or
agree.
use.
Yeah, I remember when I first played, like when I first got like really when I first started playing, getting deep into video games. The only DLC I know of was like expansion packs. Like
Yeah,
for like I because I played on the PlayStation 3, the when it was Infamous 2, um there was the DLC where it was a Festival of Blood DLC, and it was like a Halloween themed where the story was like it took place within like 24 hours. And then it was the I started playing Uncharted 3, and then cuz that game had a like it had a multiplayer, and then that game actually had its own like season pass or whatnot. So I ended up buying that, and it included all the maps, all the multiplayer maps from Uncharted 2, and it included and it added maps that were renditions of that of Uncharted 1. So like the sections in Uncharted 1, they just added them to the game. And then
that's cool.
yeah, and then moving forward, it went from that story games to I remember the loot boxes. That was a big thing. I don't remember what game. I don't think I've ever played games with loot boxes. I think the closest would be like I guess Black Ops 2, which the supply drops, which definitely stuck around for a bit before the battle passes. But I remember in Battlefield 4, they had the battle packs, and then in the battle packs actually had it was like you had the regular ones and then you had the gold ones. Um, when that game came out, I don't know. It's when I first heard of the battle pass and stuff system, I was definitely like around that time of Fortnite's like popularity when that started rising.
Yeah,
I I believe that yeah, once like you said it, like the success of the battle pass inspired a lot of folks to do that because they're also doing that fucking thing for like 2042 as well. So
yeah,
almost everybody's doing it, which makes sense because also the Avengers has that for like their characters. Because the essentially a battle pass, also Destiny. Just off the top of my head, I remember that now. It kind of encourages you. It almost kind of forces a player to like stick around to play that game a lot
yeah.
because the more you put that more time and effort you put into this, the more of the battle pass you unlock. And especially if you buy the battle pass and it's like a seasonal thing, it's almost like you're playing. You have to complete the battle pass to get your money's worth. Otherwise, it's kind of like, oh, I bought this for nothing.
See, then they also do the thing where they put, like, whatever game currency they put in, they get you usually, if you buy the battle pass, you'll be able to buy this next one. Because they give you up to, I know Fortnite, they did like 1,200 V-Bucks, and normally the battle pass was like, what, like 900,
Mm-hmm.
950, something like that. So
Right.
it's cool that they would started implementing that.
Yeah, yeah, you could definitely just like skip ahead, and
Yeah,
I just hope that essentially, like, I just hope because I know like in there's games like for example like Overwatch and like I guess Rocket League and especially like the sports games like FIFA. You have like their own versions of like loot boxes or like the card
yeah,
packs, and so it just be like I agree. It's like when you said mentioned that it was gambling because I definitely agree. Like at a certain point, it feels like you're just gambling, and a lot like the European Commission, for example, really did is like currently looking into like maybe banning the practice of loot boxes, and so bringing the battle pass system over would definitely be a good way to mitigate the costs lost from vulnerable people spending ludicrous amounts of money to get like weapons or skins for games such as like Counter Strike or that potentially like the supply drops for Black Ops 2 or especially the card packs for FIFA and like NBA, I suppose, like 2K.
yeah.
They
I
also
remember,
what's up?
go ahead,
No,
go ahead.
what did you remember?
Do you remember Battlefront 2 when it first came out?
I
The new
do
one?
remember it was the Battlefront 2 was a shit show because of how greedy
Yes.
it was.
You had all the, like, classic heroes from all the Star Wars movies, like Luke Skywalker, Darth Vader, Palpatine, Chewbacca, Han, all behind a paywall.
Mm-hmm.
And then you just had, like, a couple of, yeah, they're cool heroes to have at the launch, but, like, I want to have a big variety, bro. Like,
Mm-hmm.
why can't I play these classic people that I've been watching, why can't I play as them? Why do I gotta pay money to play as them?
I
Like,
yeah, I agree.
I don't know.
Jesus. I know that yeah, and then because the controversy came out and how long it would take to essentially get everything, which would
I
take
remember
like
that.
a years or something, like 10 years. Essentially EA just caved in and actually decided to, was like, "You know what? It's just have it all. Fuck you, whatever." Or with the legacy edition of Battlefront 2.
Yeah, that was a good move that they did, and then now the game's actually in a pretty good state. Not gonna lie.
I agree. It's way better. The everything's available to players in the legacy edition. It almost makes the credits you get from playing Battlefront 2 kind of useless because they just like accumulate and you have nothing to spend them on.
Yeah,
When
like what? Why would you buy the packs? Like more customization items for your soldier? I don't feel like I've only really played Battlefront 2 for the heroes versus villains mode. That was fun all the time.
I'm a big sucker for like playing as like the regular dudes. I like playing as the clone troopers in the Republic and so I'm always
That's
repping
cool to do.
the 501st skins with all of them.
I
And
haven't
then,
played that kind of mode in a while.
it's really fun. And then ever since they decided to like it's actually funny because with Battlefront 2 being kind of almost like a catalyst, the games they released afterwards were a lot less monetarily
Yeah.
hungry. You have, for example, the single player experience that's also Star Wars related, Jedi Fallen Order, which
Yep.
I don't believe had any paid DLC, or if I remember, except for like the deluxe edition of the game. And then you had afterwards that, like, you had your FIFAs and all that, but that's EA Sports. With regular EA, you had Battlefield 5 come out, and although regardless of its inception, there was only weeklies where you could earn stuff for free. You could buy currency, like you could in any game, like paid currency, but it would also be the only things you could buy were cosmetic items for your four soldiers you could customize from head to toe. So it's like a drastic difference from the loot box system, and like making everything that is essentially a gameplay, like that makes gameplay differences in Battlefront 2 to its leniency, its de-escalation to Battlefield 5.
Yeah.
And then like essentially the like with EA Play with Battlefield 2042, they also announced a Dead Space remake.
I saw that.
Mm-hmm. Do you have any experience with Dead Space?
I don't, but when I would go over to my like friend's house a couple times, just to, like chill, they would be playing it, and that game looks fun, dude.
And yeah, I've played 1 and 2, and I've gotten through 3. Haven't beat 3. For I mean, there's everyone can give the reasons as to why they didn't beat 3. But to me, yeah, Battlefield, fucking Dead Space 1 is a great horror game. I played it on hard, and it definitely made me like, it didn't like literally make me shit my pants, but it figuratively, I felt like a little poopy, like on the outside. Like that shit was insanity. I like the ambience, everything, and it really like, it was essentially a like EA's answer to Amnesia at the time when Dead Space 1 came out. And it really paid off, and now with the cult following, well, not a cult following, with the massive following now, and a lot of rumors that they were going to announce, Dead Space 4 of all things. They actually announced a remake for the first one, which is going to be on the new engine, on the new Frostbite engine that I think powers Battlefield 2042. Now, my biggest like question is are they gonna do the Resident Evil 2 route, or are they gonna keep it basically the same, or are they gonna go the Resident Evil 3 route where they're gonna alter it in any way, shape, or form?
I don't know.
Yeah,
I'm not really familiar with their studio, so I'm I'm just like, oh well, maybe they can hopefully make a remake that's gonna satisfy their fans. But
amen.
anything can happen, right? Like some people make things that people like, and then there's always a other group where people don't like things. No one's
Yeah,
really truly satisfied, so
amen, man. It really is like that. I don't know, man. It's crazy. And then they're also announced at E3 Guardians of the Galaxy. Like
yeah.
I didn't get to watch too much of that, but you were very excited to tell me about that. What's up with that?
So when I first saw it, it did look. I thought it was gonna be another like Avengers game, or like Avengers DLC. I was like, yo, they're adding Guardians of the Galaxy to the Avengers game. But then it ended up being just like its own game, and I was like, yo, okay, so it's a story game, right?
Okay.
You're playing as Star Lord, um, and you can. It's kind of like Anthem, but like a little bit better. I don't know how to really explain it, but you can use the other Guardians as like their abilities, like while you're playing as Star-Lord, you can control them, and they'll do their attacks while you're doing yours. So like it's a big group effort, I guess you could say. I don't know. I don't really know how else to describe it like that, but it just looks really cool how you're playing as these classic characters from the comics, and they're almost comic accurate looks. Um, I was hoping that they would do like, I'm hoping they do like a outfit DLC for, like the Marvel Cinematic Universe Guardians of the Galaxy. That'd be cool.
Yeah, because
Chris Pratt.
yeah, that'd be insane. I don't know how they would manage to pull that off. Because I know that the barley, because they did the outfits for Avengers. In the Avengers, they managed to get the cosmetics that are where you would have like Captain America and all the other Avengers from the movie that were in the movies, to get their like Marvel cinematic, their MCU renditions of their outfits in Marvel's Avengers.
I remember seeing the Endgame Captain America skin and the Iron Man Endgame skin inside the game.
You haven't, or you have?
I've seen it, but I don't have it.
No, I feel it. Yeah, and then they announced. No, they didn't announce when they announced Guardians of the Galaxy. I thought that it was gonna be a co-op game, because there's more than just the Guardian, which is Star Lord, but you play as Star Lord the entire time. And like I guess suppose it's like Star Wars Republic Commando, where you control the other characters as well, since you're the leader. But I suppose it's like a thing where it's like a very like unusual, and I suppose like an interesting take on like a game such as this one, because it reminds me of so much other games. Like for example, the most recent one would be like Marvel's Avengers, but like keeping it Marvel related, like as a throwback, it would be like the Marvel's Ultimate Alliance. If you ever heard of those games, it would have like a plethora of heroes, including the Avengers. You had Deadpool, you had the entire Fantastic Four team, a ton of the X-Men characters. You had like Ghost Rider, Daredevil, like a lot of the smaller heroes. Blade, they even had Blade and the Punisher, Doctor Strange. I mean, the list just goes on. And you could also play as like Nick Fury. But this game was essentially single player. Mostly everybody that I knew played a single player, but it was also co-op, and you could play as Star-Lord here. And I thought, like, in the back of my head, like, okay, well then I guess my friend online could play as like Groot, or like as Rocket Raccoon, and or Gamora. But no, it's just it's a single player, solid single player experience where you play as the main man himself. Yeah, Star-Lord. So yeah, it's definitely something right there.
Yep, I'm excited for the game. It's coming to the Switch, which is actually going to be kind of weird because the Switch is only 720 and 30 FPS.
Right.
Speaking of Switches, actually, the Switch OLED and the Steam Deck.
Dude, I'm excited. That's definitely the when the Switch OLED was announced, everybody like that I knew was pretty disappointed with it, because it's just a better screen. Like I guess it's like better like color correction, and then like the dock that it comes with has an Ethernet port, which I find
it's a slightly bigger screen as well.
Which doesn't really make it a pro. It just I guess it's like a like you have the Nintendo 3DS, and then you have like the Nintendo 3DS, or like the Nintendo DS and Nintendo DSi or whatever. Like it's not like a step, like I don't think it's like a step forward, but it's more like a step to the right. Like it's just like a different thing. Like in my opinion, the dock for the Switch definitely should have been like like the Ethernet cord. Oh my god, I'm fucking up. The Ethernet port for the Switch should have been part of the regular Switch to begin with. I mean, it's a home console, like, to begin with, that you can take to the go, which is what it's marketed as. So to be able to play it at home on a hardwired connection, I think just makes complete sense. And then when you pull it off the dock, it switches to Wi-Fi.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And then
Uh,
sorry, continue.
compared to the Steam Deck, where everything's just a library from your Steam.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you just obviously still gotta have, Wi-Fi connection regardless. But I don't. Did they announce that there's gonna be a dock for the Steam Deck? Probably
Uh,
not, right?
no, I don't think so. I think the Steam Deck itself, from what I've seen, serves as its own like computer, so you
Yeah.
could essentially connect it to a monitor and play like Steam off of there, which is gonna be interesting. I don't know how they're gonna do that. I know that the specs are in comparison to the Switch OLED are like so superior, and um, especially when it was announced, I just thought it was like completely out of the blue, because I really, when I play PC, it's like, oh, it's Steam, it's PC. It's not like Steam and it's like, oh yeah, I'm gonna take Steam on the go. Um, but I did pre-order the 500 gigabyte model. I put my $5 down on that, and I can't wait to play Sunset Overdrive on that fucking thing. And then the Nintendo Switch has The Witcher 3 on it, but it's like completely like like the resolution is like scaled down a lot. So I wonder how it measures up if I were to run the Witcher 3 on it.
Yeah, the graphics is definitely gonna be a lot better. I think it might be able to do 60 FPS,
Mm-hmm.
possibly. It's a who knows at this point until we actually see.
Yeah. Uh, yeah, man, it's gonna be interesting, man. The 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 reception was very positive, and then it's also a bit like toxic, I suppose, because the fan base for the Steam was like, oh yes, finally we have something to shit on the Nintendo people on for, because Nintendo's whole thing is like, oh, it's the Switch, it's the portable game. That's where Nintendo's niche has always been in video games. And in the 2000s, before, it was like, oh yes, you have your Nintendo DS, but then you also had like your fucking, you had the Sony PlayStation's PSP, I don't want to mention the terrible PSP Go, but then you also had the PS Vita, which is PlayStation's last mainline portable unit. In my opinion, the PS Vita was ahead of its time. It's great handheld, great handheld, but
It is.
it didn't pale in any comparison to the sales that the Nintendo DS systems did. So they essentially were phased out. But as much as I love video games, sometimes I just like to chill and watch movies, and sometimes I'll go with the homies and we'll watch movies. Like you know, like me and you went to see that Quiet Place Part 2 when that movie's come out.
Yeah. I did see the first one, and I was like, dude, they need to make a second one.
Mm-hmm.
And I like how they went back in the second one, how they went back to the events of how the first one started. It was cool. So kind of like give you like so this is previously on.
Yes, I remember that. The and I think one of the favorite scenes from the Quiet Place Part 2, spoilers, is that they essentially take the how it all starts. I guess that's what you're talking, because I actually skipped the first one, where they show the dude going about like, oh, it's a regular day. This is before like the aliens show up or whatever.
Yeah, they were at a baseball game.
Yeah, they were chilling at a baseball game, and then shit just like goes down, and it's like so quick too. And then that's where you find that they react to sound rather than that to like light or vision. I definitely think the movie was a good one. I liked it a lot. It wasn't. I wasn't. I didn't. I wasn't scared. There was probably like a jump scare here and there, but
Yeah.
the it was definitely like when it if it were to be if it was supposed to be a thriller, I think it did a good job. I was definitely thrilled, or I was at the edge of my seat. I was like, "What's gonna happen, man?" Um, I think the way that they're using the deaf chick, the deaf girl, I think definitely was the right move. Um,
Considering it's a sound-based movie.
exactly, yes, because her in the especially because it's the apocalypse. There's really not much like support groups or like you know things available to her that help her hear well, except for hearing aid. That's all she has. But when you get towards the end of the movie, especially in the middle when you first start off, it's her, and essentially the guy, they meet at the baseball game who has his own children and wife who eventually pass away. It's them two, and then they actually end up on this like remote island. I don't know, like I think it was kind of interesting how they made it so that way the island was only found if you understood the code or whatever that was playing that specific song over and over. I thought it
Yeah.
it would have been more, I guess, functional if they would have said, "Hey, you know,
Like,
we're in the water, an island. Why don't you fellas come by?" I don't know, cause it's like even if like it's to detract like bad people from coming to the island, like it was still a thing where bad people could solve the same riddle or puzzle or message or whatnot and still come to the island. I think in higher volumes, more individuals would have come over and saw and would have not died and stuff.
yeah.
And then in the end of the movie, it's the girl. It's the what do you think about the ending scene where they fight that monster in the radio station? How it plays out in the end?
Dude, low key, I was like, yo, am I watching Stranger Things? Cause like the way she had her hand out with the thing, it kind of like
Yeah.
reminded me of that.
Mhm.
Like season one. That was a cool ending though. So it definitely sets up a spin-off. It
Okay.
like they do another spin-off, like or like a third movie,
Okay.
where now like, you know, now they can show them like actually like trying to repopulate the world or like rebuild. Now that they have this, where they know that they can actually beat them,
Okay.
because they're the sound from that. It really, it hurts their ears, so now it like exposes their head where they can actually like shoot them and kill them. So I think that in the third one, they possibly could show them where like they just like wipe out the rest of the aliens. We don't even know how far it's spread, by the way. It could be just that one whole like part of the town. But if they do make a third one, they could also like show like another country if it hit that, which would be awesome. Cause I definitely want to see like see the main characters from the first two, but I also want to see some like new characters as well, just like how it started for them and how they had to like manage to try to figure out how to stop them.
I think that's a good way. I think that's good, especially if it's like in another different country. Cause like, imagine if like what would it like, what if it like just said like because I think they came on like meteors or something.
Yeah,
What do you think? Because what country do you think would be cool to see? Countries people dealing with that like for me personally, I think it'd be funny or like at least interesting to see how like the people of England had to deal with this because like in England, unlike in the U.S., people don't really have access to like weapons like such as like ballistics or like ammo because of the laws, and versus in the U.S. like you could like shed a gun out what like in your fucking food because like you just have like guns everywhere, but like in the other countries like there's like not that much of a like surplus of weapons just chilling everywhere. Like,
Yeah.
so like, what country would you think would be funny to see?
Japan, dude. If they just had like giant mechs.
Dude, fucking giant mechs. Do you have the Power Rangers fighting the monsters?
Fuck. They'd
Oh,
have like
form that.
katanas and everything.
Mm-hmm. Oh wow, that'd be ninjas. Cause they're quiet.
Dude. Yeah, like like they could find out a way to, because katana can be very quiet. Like it's a stealthy kill,
Mm-hmm.
and I know that's like a big thing over there. With like samurais and stuff. It's been passed down generation to generation.
Right.
Like that would be cool to like see that kind of like thing, like historical aspect in the movie as well.
Okay.
Kind of like played in, I guess. I don't know how to really what else to say, but
Yes, John Krasinski as a director definitely does a good job, and I do hope to see, more from this movie, from this what is it, universe. But going from a good movie to what I think is a pretty terrible one. You have the new Mortal Kombat movie that came out. I'm not really a big fan of Mortal Kombat, of the 2021 rendition at least, because it's supposed to be a remake almost of the original one that came out in the 90s, where more what's his name, Liu Kang's was played by Robin Shu, but I don't even know who plays the new one, and it's just completely different because a lot of the main characters are just not present, like or at least not like how you're used to seeing them in video games. For example, like one of the biggest glaring differences is that you don't see like Luke Cage like at all.
nope.
Nah.
And then usually, like in the games, Kano is usually like more of a bigger like villain with like Sonya Blade.
Mm-hmm.
They were more like weren't they more after trying to get him in the originals?
Yeah, he was like Sonya Blade tracked him down to that boat where they take everybody to the island where they have the Mortal Kombat tournament. And because apparently Sonya's partner got Jax was killed by uh what's his name again?
Uh,
Kano. There
Kano,
you
yeah.
go. Yes. Um and then the whole tournament happens, and then you see it like Luke Cage meets like Steven Spielberg, but it ends up being like Shao Kahn in magic. And then
Yeah.
and then Luke Cage eventually fights Goro, and then Liu Kang fights Shao Kahn, and then frees and then kills Shao Kahn. But in this new one, like it's just not the same thing. And then they bring this new guy in, which name I forgot completely. And I just think it didn't stick the landing at all. I mean, the costume design was interesting, and the CGI was just definitely way better. Because it's 2021, and that movie was made in the 90s. But I mean, come on. They had so much material to work with, and then they decided to do their own thing. And it's like, I just think it's really interesting how like studios could just see like, oh, we have so much material we could work with. Let's use some of it, and then let's have our own spin on it because that'll work.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
What I also noticed is like the beginning of the movie felt really more like Scorpion's Revenge. Have you seen the animated one?
I haven't.
Yeah, it felt more like that. And I was like, dude, don't tell me they're just doing like Scorpion's Revenge. But I did notice that they are definitely setting up a tournament because they were talking about it in this first one, and now they're gonna go. Spoiler if you haven't seen this, by the way. They're gonna go see, go recruit Johnny Cage. So I'm kind of, I don't know, I'm kind of happy they saved off on Johnny Cage because Kano's character was actually, pretty funny. Not gonna lie.
Oh, okay.
His comedy aspect was great. But now next week we're gonna get Johnny Cage, which I'm hoping is gonna be great. I hope whoever they cast for that does a good job. they gotta find a good Johnny Cage actor for sure.
Mm-hmm. Because I know that
Um,
whoever did, I think it was Ashton Linsby or something like that.
I don't remember the original actor. Um,
It was Lyndon Ashby. Oof, I had it backwards. Yeah, he played Johnny Cage in his prime. Yeah, Clarence Lyndon Garnett Ashby the third. He played Johnny Cage, and he was really funny. The charisma was amazing. And with these two movies coming out, like, are there any movies that are on the rise, on the come up, that you're about to see, or like, or sorry, that you're interested in?
yeah. Jackass Forever.
Okay,
I'm really interested in seeing Jackass Forever.
tell me about it.
Dude, they're like 50 and they're still doing stunts, man.
True. What is your favorite stunt from one of the movies, from any of them?
Oh, that's hard. Do you remember the dentist one where they had they had a Lambo and they tied his tooth,
Mm-hmm.
and then the Lambo just drove off?
Yeah,
Seeing that as a kid was funny.
I remember that one. I think my favorite one was when Steve-O was in the porta potty.
That one was funny too.
That one was funny as fuck. They slung it and they tied it. They closed the door and the porta potty was full. And then they slung it back and forth. And then you saw the camera and it panned and it cut to Steve-O, like, catching shit in his mouth, like actual, like, fecal matter. And so I just cut to him throwing up and all that stuff. Oh man, yeah, it's something else, man. It's something else. And then they definitely pushed the envelope. I remember the intro to one of them. It was like, I don't know if it was Bam or Jerem, but they tied like a zip line to this guy's butt crack, and then they launched this firework penis into his butt cheeks.
I think I remember that.
Mm-hmm. Oh man. And then it's also, well, sorry, continue.
No, go ahead.
There's also that the scene where it's that fat dude who gets up in the in the King Kong outfit fighting against those, like, drones. That I thought was pretty cool.
Do you remember the the bar one, like with the midget bar one, the midget bar fight?
No.
Dude, that one was funny. They just had you had who's the short guy?
Wee Man?
Yeah, Wee Man. They had Wee Man um going to the bar, and then one of the girl he was seeing was also he also had she was also a midget as well.
Okay.
And then her boyfriend would come in. These all were just like all midgets coming in, and then like he went out, got his friends. They all came in, started fighting, and then the police came in.
They were all little people too.
Yes, they were all little people too. And then the ambulance came in, and they were all little people too.
Right.
It was funny as fuck.
Yeah.
And everyone inside was like, "What the fuck is happening?"
Yeah, it's just like a little content event. Yeah. Yeah. Oh man, and the cast back then was a full cast. It was like Johnny Knoxville. It was Ryan Dunn, Bam Margera, Weeman. I don't remember, and then I don't remember the name of the fat dude. It was him, and then some other guy. But like in the new one, or essentially the last one, so sadly Ryan Dunn isn't gonna be in it because he passed away in a car accident. But but also Bam Margera himself isn't gonna be in the last one. Why is it?
I heard that wasn't he like going through like rehab or something like that, or like he was doing a lot of drugs after his friend died,
Yeah.
and they wanted him to like clean up, like you know take better care of himself.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's why. I'm not 100% sure why he's not in it.
Yeah, Yeah, man, it sucks for Bam, but I think ultimately the Jackass guys really want him to get better, and stop, you know, being so addicted and to substances. But I can't believe, yeah, Jackass is definitely gonna be a movie that I'm so excited to revisit.
Yes, especially with like the homies.
Mm-hmm.
Get
It's
this all together. It's gonna be a fun time.
I agree, especially if we like pregame before.
Oh, yes.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
So the next movie was Dune. That just came out. The trailer.
Mm-hmm.
What did you think of that?
Well, to me, Dune is definitely a movie. There's been a past Dune movie, but I heard it was like dog water. And the apparently, according to a lot of people that I know, the CGI and like the way the monsters were, the concepts for the monsters in the movie were like too expensive for any film studio to make. Um, and anything that's been done, it doesn't really do it justice to the book. It has a lot of like very prolific actors in it too.
Yes, it does. It has a lot of variety actors.
Yeah, like what actors really caught your mind?
I saw Dave Bautista in there.
Mm-hmm.
Um, obviously Zendaya's in there.
Mm-hmm.
I gotta see the full cast actually.
So it's the main character is Timothy Chalamet, Zendaya, Rebecca Ferguson, Jason Momoa,
Jason Momoa,
Dave
yes,
Bautista, Oscar Isaacs,
yes,
Dave
and
Dasmalkian, Josh Brolin.
Roland
We all know
Thanos.
him. Yeah, basically Thanos himself. You have Paul Bullion, Oliver Ryan, Chang Chen, and like Sharon Duncan, you know, off the top of my head.
There's definitely a big cast though.
It
Jason
is.
Momoa, Dave Bautista, Oscar Isaac from Star Wars,
Mm-hmm.
Josh Brolin, Thanos.
Yep. I know.
Obviously also Goonies.
Mm-hmm. A lot of people don't know, but like I'm also. It's really cool that David Dasmalkian is in it because he also played one of the characters in Blade Runner, the sequel
Really?
2049. Mm-hmm. It's pretty good stuff. At the sense what do you think, like what is, do you know what Dune is about?
I haven't read the book, so it definitely looks interesting. I'm probably gonna get the story when I watch it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm definitely gonna like look up some, or possibly even read the book or get like an audio book and just listen to it.
Right.
So then I'm going into the movie kind of knowing what the movie's about.
You're right. Yeah, because although there was a 1984 movie that came out for it, I actually didn't see it myself, and but I will be looking forward to this rendition of it, especially because it's a sci-fi, and I just like love sci-fi drama and thriller and stuff. It's gonna be amazing. Because like there's these a ton of space movies that have come out that I've been like really big fan of. Like for example, in 2015, you have Christopher Nolan's Interstellar. You
That movie
have,
was great.
yeah, a godlike movie. It's a real shame I didn't see it in theaters. Um, you have Robert Pattinson's. He starred in this movie called High Life. Got it was it's a very artsy movie, and a lot of critics liked it, but a lot of regular audiences didn't. I'm more of it on the critics side of things. I definitely liked it. Um, I thought it was very jarring, like to see some things. Some of the scenes in that movie were jarring simply because they were so raw in like what they did. Um, and lastly, off the top of my head is Ad Astra as well. Thought the movie was great. It's
I
just
never saw that.
no problem. Since you saw Interstellar, like, what do you think about that one? Like, especially in 2015.
I just thought like kind of in mind, like, yeah, obviously, we're not the only ones. Obviously, like, there has to be other people, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's probably more like technologically more advanced than us,
Right.
or could be technologically, not advanced as well.
Right.
Um, a lot of, you know, galaxies and stuff that hasn't been explored probably won't even get explored till long past when we're dead, obviously.
Most likely, yeah. Sad, but you know what? Matthew McConaughey went through that wormhole and ended up in a different time, and he ended up being the young dude while his like daughter was like an old lady, which is
Yep.
it makes you think about, at least to me it made me think about, like what like my place in our universe is at. But I mean, when it comes to, but with the new Marvel stuff coming out, especially with the shows, you have like the multiverse being introduced.
Yes.
Like, you're definitely, you're a big Marvel fan.
Yes,
Justin,
I am.
tell me about it. Tell me about it. Go ham.
Bro, now that the multiverse, dude, there was a theory, or not a theory, but like it's kind of been confirmed now. Like, you saw WandaVision, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, you remember the ending of WandaVision? How she became the Scarlet Witch? Spoilers if you haven't seen it.
Mm-hmm.
There's been a connection with the Loki ending. Uh, Spoilers as well if you haven't seen this. The Loki series was great, by the way. Um, that's just going to be introducing the multiverse because now that Sylvie and Loki went to the end of time, right? The Citadel. They did meet He Who Remains, which ended up being a Kang variant. Uh, and once Sylvie killed him, kind of like just broke the MCU. So now we're just gonna start seeing the events of that start to unfold. In the Spider-Man movie, obviously, Multiverse of Madness, which is supposed to be Marvel's first horror movie, which that's gonna be crazy. Um, just having that like multiverse thing start to happen now. Now you can get like all these, Fox characters start to show up. All these
Mm.
how now they're gonna actually fully be in the cinematic universe. It's just gonna be insane. Like they're eventually gonna get to a point where Secret Wars is gonna be a thing, and that's gonna be Infinity War and Endgame, just like but like at an even bigger and more epic scale, which is gonna be awesome.
What's Secret Wars?
Um,
Like, for the people that don't know.
it's basically alternate like characters, like alternate like Avengers characters or like Marvel characters, but like going at each other, kind of like what am I trying to say here? Like trying to stop. I don't know if they're trying to stop their villains or if they're just like fighting each other. Just I didn't really read the comics, but I guess that's like a vague description. Um, I just know it's you know different versions of the Marvel characters that we know,
I know.
villains, heroes.
I remember the something about scrolls being part of the movies in the MCU.
Yeah.
I don't know. Does that have to do anything with the Secret Wars?
That's Secret Invasion, which is actually we're gonna be getting a Disney Plus show with that next year with uh Samuel L. Jackson obviously is Nick Fury, and then the main scroll from Captain Marvel.
Wow. Yeah, cause the only experience I've had was like reading like pizza bits and pieces from the books, and playing as the Super Scroll from like in Marvel versus Capcom. But to me, Loki was a good show. My favorite of the three being the other two, Captain America and the Winter Soldier. Um, sorry, it's Falcon and the Winter Soldier and the WandaVision. I think Loki was probably my favorite.
Yeah,
Uh,
Falcon and the Winter Soldier were pretty good though.
mm-hmm.
It, I definitely thought it was a little bit better than WandaVision, but now that there's this connection from the endings combined, it's kind of like insane, kind of.
Right. Well, how is the? Can you explain further how the WandaVision uh ending connects to the Loki?
So if you like play the endings at the same time, like when Wanda's like slowly like casting her runes, and then she slowly starts becoming the Scarlet Witch. You see, He Who Remains kind of like drops something, he like drops a pencil, and like he looks around and starts noticing like, I don't know what's about to happen. And then like you can also see at the ending of the Loki show, when it zooms out to the full like quote unquote sacred timeline, there's like a red part of the timeline, or like the multiverse that's like red. It looks like the Chaos Realm. So that could be, where Wanda's just created her new like reality or like dimension or whatever you want to call it.
Yo, that is interesting. I
Right? And like the fact that they were able to connect it, it's kind of cool. Like we kind of figured, WandaVision was supposed to connect with Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness, but it didn't really. Like at the end, the post-credit scene was kind of like, oh well, she's in her astral form,
mm-hmm.
but she's like, and she's reading the book, but she's also like walking around. So this is gonna be very interesting.
Right. How do you think that, if you're looking back, like as we grew up with the Marvel faces, like how is it different, like for the new generation of people watching these movies to what we grew up with?
Well, remember from Iron Man 1, if that movie did not, do as well as it did, we probably wouldn't even be here.
Right?
And watching, if you do like a full rewatch, just watching the very first Marvel movie to, you know, I guess Black Widow would be the recent one. You could just tell the difference in like how the filming has changed. They're getting really more and more like crazy with their stuff. Um, it's getting a little bit more comic book accurate as well, which is getting a little bit, that's cool. As any comic book fan would love to see that comic book accuracy in any movie. Like it's just insane.
I agree. I think coming back from like watching like the Black Widow stuff, and then watching like watching the original Iron Man movie, the first one. I think it's definitely different, definitely, especially like the writing is. I'm always gonna
Yeah,
be a sucker for Iron Man 1. Like that's probably my favorite like origin movie from in the MCU because of how badass it is. From the cave scene to when he comes back to the Middle East as Iron Man with his red and yellow suit and just like this and just like kills terrorists. Like I don't know, like it's just so cool, like and funny. Um in comparison to like the DC movies, there's always you always try to find reasons to like beat around the bush as to like why heroes in that universe don't kill people. But like if you watch the Marvel movies, um, from the first Iron Man movie to like the Incredible Hulk, to like Thor, like they just slaughter people and like monsters and stuff. Like
yep,
especially Infinity War, like with Thor.
yeah, killing all those what were like the space dogs, I guess that's what Rocket called them.
Yeah, fuck it, the space ducks, man.
But
Yeah.
I'm next, like
What's
really excited for is What If.
hmm? I have no
What
idea
If
what
is
that's
gonna be
about.
insane. It's gonna be, it's another multiverse type of thing. Now we're definitely gonna be getting into a lot of multiverse stuff. Um, it's like alternate, like like what if I think there's a with the trailer there's a what if like the Avengers characters were zombies, which was a comic book. I remember that in high school, which is gonna be awesome to see in like an animated version of that. And then there's a what if Peggy Carter got the super soldier serum instead of Steve Rogers. What if Iron Man got saved by Killmonger instead of now you're gonna have a universe where he doesn't become Iron Man. Uh, what if like I know one of the main ones was what if Black Panther or King T'Challa was Star Lord. Now there's gonna be a universe where Peter Quill doesn't get rescued by Yondu, and now the Guardians of the Galaxy is gonna be different. So it's just gonna be like really crazy how there's endless possibilities. I know they're gonna get a season 2 of that. How you can have like all these different things happen. Like they can definitely make several seasons of that show.
Um, for me, the when I read the Marvel Zombies comic book, like it was very gory and insane. because it got to the point where these zombies got like there was like at least I remember the Spider-Man zombie was still like able to retain some of its intelligence, and they what is it? They used cosmic like they ate like Galactus,
They
and
first ate Silver Surfer, and
okay,
then, well, Silver Surfer was trying to come and tell Galactus, hey, I think you need to destroy this planet. There's zombies, bro. And then Silver Surfer was able to try to fight him off, but then eventually he got ate, so then they got his cosmic powers. And then when Galactus came, since they had the cosmic powers, they were just able to eat Galactus and got even more cosmic powers and started going to other planets and started taking over those planets.
right. I remember at one point they went to like a different universe and they just like did like rinse and repeat almost. I don't like because I remember seeing Spider-Man eat another Spider-Man, and I thought that was like it was definitely bizarre and not something that I would be expecting of like the movies. I don't even know if the movies would be able to do that, or if it's just gonna be like zombies where they're just gonna be like, "How do you do, Joe? Welcome to work," but they're all dead. Like they're just dead people.
Well, in the trailer, they showed Captain America and then Bucky from Endgame, or like Infinity War. He had his arm, and then Captain America threw a shield at him, and Bucky caught it like his Winter Soldier from Winter Soldier, Captain America. And then he threw his shield back. And then there was another trailer where it showed Iron Man with his hand up as his repulsor, and it was the same as a zombie. So it's gonna be very interesting. But I've heard if they tried to be doing that in live action, dude, they probably wouldn't have enough money to do all those like action shots or like, you know, all that stuff. So doing the animated route saves them money, but it's still gonna be costly, obviously.
Yeah, yeah, I agree. I mean, so it's the multiverse of madness, right? And then when is the Spider-Man movie coming out?
It's supposed to come out this year, but we still have not gotten the trailer yet. Who knows when we're gonna get the trailer? We could possibly not get the trailer and just go into the movie blind.
Hmm.
I've started thinking that as a possibility. But we have until December, and it's what, barely July 26th?
Mm-hmm.
So we still have time. I'm just hoping we get a trailer soon.
Yeah, probably in like the next Disney event or probably something like that.
Hopefully. Although it is Sony doing the marketing, so
Oh, okay.
who knows how they do the marketing.
For real. Well, it looks like that's all we got for today. Uh, this is definitely a new dynamic with me and Justin. I'm really happy that he's on board, and we're gonna be doing one of these a week, hopefully. My name is Nicholas, but you could check me out on Instagram or Twitter, I suppose, and also mainly my Twitch at retro_loneliness. Any last remarks, Justin? And before we start off,
This has been fun. I'm looking forward to another podcast. Maybe we can get some other peeps in on this. Have a group podcast. That would be fun.
mm-hmm.
Is it okay if I plug some socials, possibly? Yeah, guess follow me on Instagram. It's ixbungee17. I do stream occasionally on Twitch. Twitch.tv/ixbungee. And other than that, yeah.
All right. Thank you all for coming. Bye.